Autoline Daily is brought to you by Siemens PLM Software, transforming the process of innovation.
Here are the top headlines that came out of the first day of the Detroit Auto Show. Electric cars and hybrids dominate the news, but don't count out diesels, and BMW believes the car market will bounce back later this year. Up next, the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Monday, January 12, 2009, with a special edition from the North American International Auto Show. And now the news. Hybrids and electrics have dominated the announcements here at the show, and it's getting all kinds of press. General Motors showed off the Cadillac Converge, a beautiful two-seat car that is essentially the Cadillac version of the Chevrolet Volt. Over at Ford, they're talking about what they call 4 in 4. That is, they're going to have either 4 hybrids, battery electrics, or plug-ins coming in the next 4 years. And topping the list of that is going to be a Focus-sized electric vehicle that will have a 100-mile range, powered by a lithium-ion battery. Very interestingly, Ford is developing this in conjunction with Magna, which presumably is going to be building this vehicle, and they see that they might be able to sell somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 of these vehicles every year. And then over at Lexus, they showed off what they're calling the HS 250H, which is a purpose-built Lexus hybrid. They're expecting to get this into something like 35 miles per gallon in the city. But what I find very interestingly is that even though this is a purpose-built hybrid, it's got very conservative styling. It's not screaming hybrid, say, like the Prius styling does. And over at Chrysler, they unveiled this beautiful 200C. It too is a range-extending electric vehicle, much the same kind of technology that there is in the Chevrolet Volt, but this is a beautiful sedan. They're claiming that it will get a 40-mile range and yet be able to go 0 to 60 in only 7 seconds. We'll be back with more news from the Detroit Auto Show right after this break.
Siemens, transforming the process of innovation.
Even though hybrids, plug-ins, and electric vehicles seem to dominate the first day of the Detroit Auto Show, don't count out diesels. Take a look at this very intriguing concept car that came from Volkswagen, what they're calling Concept Blue. This is a mid-engine, turbo diesel sports car. They're talking in terms of performance of 0 to 60 in only 6.2 seconds, and yet they're also talking about, and this is based on the European cycle, 35 miles per gallon in the city and 62 miles per gallon on the highway. Again, on the European cycle. We'll see how that turns out if this thing gets into production. On some business news, very interestingly, Jim O'Donnell, the head of BMW North America, says the current downturn that we're going through in the automotive industry is merely a blip. He says once we see the stimulus package kick into the economy, we're going to see it bounce back. Not bounce back to where it was before, but he definitely thinks that business is going to pick up later this year. And that's it for some of the top news that came out of the first day at the North American International Auto Show in Detroit. But don't forget, yesterday we had live webcasts at noon and 4 p.m. You can go back and see those if you missed the live broadcast. And yet again today we're going to do the same thing, both at noon and at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with journalists who are covering the show and different executives who represent the different car companies that are here. Don't miss it. It's terrific. Anyway, that's it for today's show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.